Your latest book, A Poem for Peter, is an extraordinary tour de force. And I wondered if you'd just talk to us about it, what your inspiration was, and tell us about the book.
A Poem for Peter. Loved writing that book. A Poem for Peter is a picture book biography about none other than Ezra Jack Keats, who wrote the classic children's book that so many of us grew up on, The Snowy Day. The Snowy Day was published in 1962, and it won the Caldecott Medal, the highest honor one can receive for a picture book, in 1963, the year I was born. So that book was in the world to greet me. I was born in Washington, D.C., inner city, and my parents had very limited resources, but they bought that book. If they could spend their money on their new daughter, that was how they chose to spend it. And, you know, I joke that I often slept with The Snowy Day. It was like a pillow. It brought me such comfort. I loved the book, and I grew up on it. And so with the 100th anniversary of Ezra Jack Keats' birth approaching in the year 2016, thought, what a great moment to celebrate this man. And the book does celebrate him. It celebrates not only Ezra Jack Keats, but Peter, who is the main character in The Snowy Day, that African-American child in the red snowsuit with the hood that, again, so many of us grew up on. And it is an ode to Peter. It's a love letter, if you will. And that was my goal in writing it, that I wanted to explore the life and times of Keats, but also the tremendous influence of Peter, one of the, well, the first really, child of color in a mainstream book depicted on the cover, a main character, and it was just a joy and a pleasure to create.
I particularly love so many things about it, but I love the fact that I didn't know much about the author. I mean, I certainly knew his name, but his life trajectory I was not as familiar with. And so to see the lines that got crossed, you know, that this was a Polish family.
Absolutely.
That this was a family that was on the run during the Nazi era, you know, and had struggled themselves with a different kind of oppression.
That's right.
But oppression nonetheless. That's a wonderful component for me to see the empathy from one culture to another.
Well, I'm glad that you talked about Ezra Jack Keats, because I, like many folks, didn't know about him. We know the book, we know his body of work, but the creator of that work. Keats was the son of struggling, as you mentioned, immigrants coming to the United States, experienced discrimination himself when he tried to get a job after serving in World War II. He would literally show up and see signs in windows that said Jews need not apply. Right. So he understood what it was like to be discriminated against, and he poured all of that into the creation of all of his books, and especially The Snowy Day, featuring this African-American character.